Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. I'm hoping you guys are all having a fantastic day. So in today's video, as you can tell by the title, we will be talking about a powerful, potentially nasty winter storm that will be occurring across the United States this upcoming weekend. Now, I will be making this video actually very short because I am recording this way later than I would typically like to. I was outside for a good while today, and I kind of got distracted, and yeah, I mean, it was almost 60 degrees here, so I kind of got the garden fever, and I was outside doing my thing. So, but I still wanted to give you guys an update because, yeah, we have quite an interesting situation going on, potentially into this upcoming weekend. The winter side of this will obviously be present, but I do want to say that there could be severe weather, and this time, there isn't the threat isn't just focused to the south. I mean, it could be occurring across potentially Iowa into Illinois, Wisconsin, southern Minnesota, or yeah, pretty far to the north. So definitely, sorry about that, definitely a change compared to what we've been seeing with every storm. If there's a severe weather threat, it's further to the south. I mean, it could be there as well, but as well to the north this time. So yeah, this is definitely something that could be dangerous. So that's why I'm calling the system nasty, or whatever word choice I use. Yeah, but before we get into this, I want to say that if you are new, consider checking out this channel. I'm a hobbyist enthusiast. I just like talking about the weather, and people also on here just like maybe the forecasts that I give out, or just like the weather, kind of weather geeks. And yeah, if you have any comments, leave them down below. If you would like to support the channel, you can do so by subscribing. I'm saying this now, not at the end when I'm supposed to, because I always forget at the end. Alright, let's start talking about this more in depth. So first off, I just want to show you right now what the Storm Prediction Center thinks for the next upcoming week. So again, this is still a bit away. Notice that for Wednesday, which is today, literally nothing. No thunderstorms, right? We rarely see these type of forecasts. Sometimes, we rarely see that there is just a thunderstorm issued, not even a severe, area of any kind, and usually we do see at least something. So yeah, no thunderstorms forecast is definitely something that is unusual. And notice that even in days where it's no severe, there's still a little area for just thunderstorms. But notice that already on Saturday and Sunday, we are 3 to 4 days out, and the Storm Prediction Center already issued a severe outlook. So that is definitely not good news. This always almost converts into at least a enhanced when it's so far out. And I'm guaranteeing you that either on Saturday or Sunday, I think maybe the one on Saturday could be an enhanced or even higher, maybe moderate. Hopefully it doesn't, but March is a volatile time. So is April and May. So we're entering that season. But look, right there, you see how far north that is? It includes portions of Minnesota, extreme southern portions, Illinois, Missouri into Iowa. And then, sorry it's jumping around so much, but on Sunday, it's further towards the south, right there. So that is very far out, and they already have a 15%, which is equivalent to a slight. So what I'm trying to say is that this thing, there definitely could be a nasty severe weather event. Now, of course, that is not the only threat with this. That would be just weird if it was, especially for a March storm. And of course, you may know that the other threat is, well, snow, and there could be quite a bit of it. So notice that out ahead of the system, which is really centered across the west till sorry about that, taking its time, we have a lot of warm air, and that's why the severe weather threat won't be just focusing across the south. It will be further towards the north, as the actual center of the system is going to be tracking further towards the north than most systems we've been seeing thus far. Notice a lot of warm air gets pumped out ahead of this. We have a high pressure, a low pressure, creates an alley of very strong winds pumping this further towards the north. The cold air is present, and it's actually very cold, which again kind of goes back to those contrasting air masses. Notice that it's not as impressive on this image, but as we push this forward, we see a very strong anomaly of warm air, but also a very strong one in terms of cold air. And notice that this thing already by late Saturday or Friday, it's impacting a lot of the west, right? The Sierras, the Utah area, or just Utah area, in Nevada, Washington. That is much needed precip and snow. Notice a lot of it is falling as snow, which is good. You need that snowpack to be kind of established, especially since ever since that December onslaught, it's been dwindling, to say the least. And notice again, we have a little bit of rain, a little bit of freezing rain, as that warm air overrides that cold air. This isn't significant, but look right here. I mean, it could be because of that freezing rain, but in terms of precipitation amounts, nothing too extraordinary. But right here, when this low pressure explodes, this is where that severe weather threat is. Notice across Iowa into Illinois, Wisconsin, nasty storms potentially with this. Notice we have a lot of cold air on the backside, and a lot of heavy precip. Again, isolated blizzard conditions, very heavy snowfall occurring. Still, a lot of it left off into the west, and that's going to be a key player in just a moment, and I'll show you. But notice that we see that rain spread into Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, a lot of snowfall towards the north into Minnesota, the Arrowhead. This is still a bit far out, so we will have to see where the exact track occurs. But definitely, a city like Minneapolis, probably at this point, I wouldn't say that you're gonna, see a all snow scenario. It's probably gonna be a transition from some rain, which you can see occurs right there, and then maybe a bit of snow if it takes a more southern trek. I think this could move 50 or 100 miles, which could make a big difference for some cities, but overall this thing won't just, start going towards the east and not hit the north. Usually within this time frame, the trek is relatively agreed on, and I'll show you that other models, European and Canadian, relatively show a similar scenario. And notice we have a lot of ice. That is definitely concerning. However, it's not a crippling event, because where it does ice, within the next 6-hour period, it's pretty much raining, so it kind of, converts, doesn't occur over a certain area for a long period of time. And notice again, we have that snow, we have that severe weather potential. And this is where things start getting interesting, and we could start seeing some nasty severe weather on Sunday. Look, so this thing pushes away. While it is a nasty system, especially right here by itself, across the northeast, starts weakening. It's just a little storm, and that skedaddles out of here. It's definitely the most concerning area of the storm is up here. Now, this is where things get interesting as well. So I guess you could qualify this as two different storms, but the remnants of the precip energy, as I told you, stay here, which is going to play right into this one. And along the cold front of this first one, we see a surge of moisture. And look, right there, that's where that severe weather threat is. If you recall, the Storm Prediction Center does have an area issued right there. It's a bit further right there to the south than what the GFS shows. Regardless, it's definitely from this event right here. Look how explosive that is. I mean, that is definitely explosive. And potentially heavy rain across areas that already saw heavy rain. And look, on the northern side, this may start off as rain for many, but then convert to a decent snow system. Obviously, areas like Ohio, Indiana, or wherever this system would be, kind of on top of those areas, you would be seeing rain. Again, there's still disagreements, especially with the second one. This shows some decent snow into Illinois, Indiana, Michigan. If this is further north, Illinois, especially northern Illinois, northern Indiana, would be in more rain, less snow. And if it's further towards the south, these areas may not even get very much of any precipitation. And notice, though, we're right there across Indianapolis. That is a concerning either severe weather event, but at this point, most likely, since it's not near the the origin of these thunderstorms, which is usually when they're the strongest, right when they kind of form, I could just assume that it's going to be at least a heavy rain event, which is concerning since a lot of those areas already have high rivers. And notice that this thing does spread into the northeast with a decent backside, potentially heavy snow for large cities in Canada and, areas like Buffalo, Syracuse, and to portions of Maine. And, that's the two separate systems that we're looking at. And I just want to show you that the total precipitation from this is pretty heavy, especially from that second one across the south. But also look at the west, picking up decent amounts of moisture. That is definitely good. Same thing with the Midwest, the upper Midwest, which is actually very good news. Just missing a lot of North Dakota, which I guess would need it the most, so that's a bit unfortunate. But look, total snowfall, especially from that first one, pretty impressive. I do think that it may be a bit more broad than what the GFS is showing, but especially across the west, decent amounts. And notice with that second one, decent amounts, maybe into the northeast, cities like Detroit, Chicago, and I just goes to show you that we're not done with winter, right? Today we're almost at 60 degrees today in my area, Chicago, but according to that model, we could be looking at a snowstorm. And now look, if you think that's it, no, winter is going to be coming in strong in March, and it continues well past the first week. Notice we see another area of snow develop. Again, at this point, this is very far out, more than a week out, or almost 2 weeks out, and you can see the drop snow across very southern areas. It's a low-lying system, a lot of cold air towards the north, especially for March. And look, this thing rides up the northeast coast. Again, this is far out, folks, but still, it's just showing you that this pattern does not look to be quieting down. And even after that one, Cold air is maintained, warm air is maintained, and we see those contrasting air masses producing snow, maybe even across Tennessee, according to this one, which is pretty far south for this time of the year. Notice very cold air for March. I just want to show you this on anomalies. Look at that. That is potentially, records being broken. And a 2-meter temperature shaded. Obviously, you won't have negatives across the south because it is March, so this is based off average. But for a daytime high here in Chicago of 15 for March, that would be rather extraordinary. Again, it's far out. I'm kind of hoping this doesn't come true. I don't want that cold air for my area, to be honest. But notice that even in the long range, look, we see another surge of moisture, probably prompting another nasty storm in the future. So let's go back and now take a look at some other models. Canadian, it's a good model. I like it. It goes out to 240 hours, and let's see what it shows. Boom, right there, a lot of that warm air again surging out ahead of the system. That cold air still being stubborn towards the north. Again, this is that weekend system. Now we're more closer in time as I'm starting with a new model. 72 hours out. Notice a lot of heavy snow for the west. This one really targets Wyoming, South Dakota, and into portions of Nebraska, though it again does deliver some severe weather, as it's just a bit further towards the west than what the current Storm Prediction Center thinks. And notice that the snow threat, this one's also pretty significant as it spreads into the arrowhead of Minnesota, the UP, into Ontario and Quebec, though a lot of the major Canadian cities are on the rainy side of this. But then look, we see that second system again. Its severe weather threat is further towards the north and east than what the GFS shows. But look, there we have that snow, very heavy rain event potentially, and it kind of moves off into the northeast. And the long range looks very active as well. Notice, if you recall, the GFS showed that system of very, very similar to what the Canadian is showing. So remarkable agreements this far out, and potentially that nor'easter, which the Canadian doesn't get too excited about. But towards the end of the long range, it too does show a lot of cold air, which is definitely a concerning thing when you have several models, agreeing on such a potentially not really welcomed event like the cold air. European, last model I want to show you quickly. Notice there's our little system. It's already moving in onto the northwest. It's been dropping a lot of rain, but this will really hit Southern California, Central California, and the west on to this upcoming Thursday and Friday. Drops a lot of moisture, intensifies across Wyoming, Colorado. So again, more agreed with what the Canadian shows. And then look, there's that severe weather potentially erupting, that snowy side, not as well developed, but definitely concerning, as there could be some very strong winds, so causing some isolated blizzard conditions. And then look, we have that system. It skedaddles out of here, but look, we have another one, that remaining piece of energy that all the other models showed exactly in a very similar format. And look, the European delivers a lot of explosive severe weather right here, which is what the Storm Prediction Center is concerned about. And I mean, look at that. That is impressive. It's long duration, so not only is the heavy rain a concern, but also the severe weather. There is a little bit of snow on the northern side of this, and with the the intensity of this precip, wherever it does occur, it's going to be occurring heavily. And notice that this thing does move away eventually, but just like the other models, this one doesn't quiet things down. Look, shows a large precip mass over here, cold air diving towards the south, maybe some sort of a coastal system that's very far out and not in agreement, but a very active pattern nonetheless. And the first two I guess we have to watch for are these, which will be done by the time we are at this time frame next week, which is Wednesday. But yeah, definitely nasty systems. Alright, that is basically it for today's video. There will be a lot more updates with this, and again, I would have made this a bit longer, but it's actually at a decent length. So alright, thank you guys so much for watching. See ya.